Hey, hello, Bobby Holland is here, and today we're talking about the upcoming recession. Today I'll tell you about a somewhat relevant topic and give answers to the most critical questions. For many, 2020 seemed like a difficult challenge. Economic world crisis, regime of masks, social distancing, large-scale fires and droughts. Everything could lead to a lot of different problems, and having a receipt the year button in hand would be extremely helpful. But we don't have it, and we understand that recession is coming to us. Still, in fact, it is the same red button that allows us to update the necessary balance in the macroeconomic processes and where they are damaged as well. So today we'll find out whether recession is as dangerous as it seems, and maybe it is just in our heads. So, before we get started, what is recession itself and is it that bad? I want to tell you that the history of the world economy gives a clear idea that its development is not always linear. Growth often alternates with a deep crisis, and a recession is a decline in a country's GDP within one calendar year. At the same time, it is accompanied by a decrease in the business activity, industrial production, and a reduction in revenues to the state budget as well. The consequences of the crisis are certainly reflected in the population's well-being, and people are facing massive layoffs and difficulties in finding work, and also a decrease in income leads to decrease in needs of citizens. Debts of individuals, legal entities to banks are growing, some have to cancel credit projects, stagnation in all economic areas also manifests itself in share prices, and they simply lose their value. The most critical and the worst, in my opinion, is the decline in the standard of living of ordinary people, because then the country's government asks to help from a more vital state, which is, how you understanding, is the growth of external national debt. But there is also a good news. Experts do not call the recession a catastrophe. They even consider it an integral part of the sustainable development of the economy, and in most cases such a crisis is of a short-term nature, and I would compare it with a bell for urgent measures to neutralize the negative consequences that I listed above already. For crisis and other economic troubles not to break your business, you need always to keep your finger on the pulse and be aware of the primary metrics of the financial market as well. The causes of recession can be pretty different, but it is still possible to avoid it. Let's start with the fact that crisis does not begin suddenly, but always a result of many circumstances and processes. And generally, any financial downturn results from an imbalance that needs to be balanced, obviously. One of the most important reasons for the recession is changes in the financial market related to the political situation. And the slowdown business activity is also the cause, the economic coma as well. But I'd like to say that recession due to the lack of extra money among the population is considered as non-critical. The problem is solved more easily and smoothly. For example, we have a set of different avoidance tips in a pretty simple ways. As the classic said, everything is possible for a person with intelligence. And of course, you can avoid the problems of recession just by carefully monitoring the economic situation on the stock market, considering its indicators as the leading indicator of the recession. But seriously, the recession is an integral and natural part of the economic cycle, and it would even say that, in some sense, it allows the markets to raise for the global level, consumers to become more rational and financially aware, and also entrepreneurs to be more flexible and resilient. But how to survive the recession? How to live out this condition? Millions of people spend lots of time counting on the rainy day when everything will go wrong, and I think that's more important to prepare for the onset of the crisis than prevent such scenarios in advance. So what's the plan? First one is to be aware that all the latest financial hypnosis is important. Don't forget to measure the business statistics. Try to get rid of the financial ballast on the personal budgets. For example, pay off loans, avoid the debits, etc. Form a financial cushion for an additional income and stay with it. But what to do when the recession starts? My advice is definitely not to run to the nearest exchange for dollars and definitely not to panic. To protect the capital from losses, distribute in various investment products and, of course, keep your finger on the pulse can be the best solution. Recession, first of all, is when the universe itself says that's way too much, it's not too cool, it's time to calm down. And the phenomenon in it is that it can be catastrophic. For example, the current crisis will end up with the subsequent crazy growth will begin, and when the next recession will come. Therefore, I would recommend preparing right now. As I have already said, recession is not something terrible and horrible. Obviously, everybody should be prepared to it. We should get ready and we should understand that its consequences might affect some of the things we do. But at the same time, this is not the end of the world and this is not something we should panic about completely. Just try to understand that the better you're prepared, the better you will survive this period. Obviously, this is not going to be an easy time, but we have faced even harder ones. I wish you all the best. My name is Bobby Holland, and I am always at your corner.